an infrastructure of young talent dealing in that digital world where the real future is, he might have stayed. And had he stayed, how many jobs and how many tax dollars come with Google? Hey, we recently lost Eric Lakofsky and Brad Keywell, a couple of UM grads. We lost them to Chicago. Groupon. We train them, and then we lose them. That's been my business for 16 years. We train them and send them off into the world to do these great things. But I've filmed from Winnipeg to Shreveport, and I kept asking myself the question, why can't we do this in Michigan? Well, we could, and we did. And now, unless we do something to save this thing, it's gone, just like that. Finally, I want to tell you about two kids who came out of our program. Robert and I taught them. Names are Danny Mooney and Eddie Rubin. They were in that first wave of 2008 to come out of U of M. What did Danny and Eddie do? They formed their own production company, Deep Blue Productions, named after their favorite university. They've done remarkably well, employing somewhere between 50 and 100 of people who come out of our classes. They've made movies like Gin, Art House, the critically acclaimed Muslim. And yes, folks, this year, before our program ended or was frozen, I had one of my own films that I co-wrote, In Line, a movie called AWOL. Eddie Rubin, when he graduated, came to me and said, you must have a script that you want done that hasn't been done yet. And I did. One, my co-writer from Los Angeles and I had done this script called AWOL. I said, Eddie, if you find the financing, I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to let you be one of the producers and Danny direct. Of course, I didn't tell my partners in LA, the producer, Chip Diggins, and my writing partner, but I had confidence I'd be able to sell them on these guys. They thought I was crazy, and then they met him, and after a couple years, I found the financing. A U of M grad, a guy from Plymouth, Pat Olson. This is the most U of M production ever. A great Hollywood cast. We start July 11th. This is what the Michigan film industry was supposed to be, self-sustaining. This is the biggest shot ever given to a young Michigan graduate to direct. It will make his career, and it will make Eddie's. They will go from being, a good-sized thing. They're the hottest young guys in Hollywood now. How did they get this major international cast to come shoot this movie in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Detroit this summer, Detroit area? These guys are all set. They're desperate to stay in Michigan. Without the incentive law, we'll say goodbye to Danny and Eddie, and it'll break my heart. And the truth is, if we were just looking at numbers, folks, I wouldn't be standing here today. I would be in Louisiana, because the way our program is working now, the law in Louisiana is better. I would not show my face in Michigan had I allowed that to happen. I told my partners I will throw myself in front of the production bus. Fortunately, they agreed. This is a story, they had to run me over with the bus. This is a story set in Ann Arbor about a couple of soldiers go on AWOL in the middle of the Vietnam War in 1969, inspired by a friend of mine from Michigan, legitimate war hero from Vietnam. It's as Michigan maize and blue as you can get. I hope you go and see it. I hope we keep our incentive law. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my co-conspirator who has made history, something nobody in this state has ever done before. Let me introduce Robert Rayher.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I believe in the future. That's why I teach at U of M. You are all examples for me of what I look forward to in my students after they leave, what Jim and I do for them there. I also believe in a talent infrastructure. As Jim was saying, what we need to make the film industry here an indigenous, self-sustaining film industry is about jobs, it's about infrastructure, it's about reversing the brain drain, and most importantly, it's about the talent that makes that infrastructure happen. Talent attracts talent, just like business attracts business. Okay? You're all here because of what Michigan has to offer. It has a lot to offer. It can offer more. I think Jim's presented that case. We have a track record, a very impressive track record. We can build on that. You all have a part to play. The part I play, and Jim and I work together on this, is Jim helps the students, as Kurt Ludke helped Jim, to figure out how to tell the stories. The stories of our times, whether they're set in 1969, they're set today, they're set in 2069. They are the stories of what makes life worth living, what makes life exciting, what makes life meaningful. That's the talent infrastructure. Okay? Technology is very important. We use it personally every day. We use it to make films. Technology is very important. But do you ever get out the cell phone you used in 2001? Technology is an enabler. What's important is the talent infrastructure. Okay? That's what we do. We help students understand how stories work, who stories are for, how to find the audience, how to connect with that audience. And then it's a matter, because we work in film, of how you take that story forward. And you find the correct actors, the correct locations, hair, makeup, wardrobe, all of those things that then get put together to make that story real, to make it touch people, to make it something that when you leave the theater or you close the laptop, you walk away and that story stays with you. That story from 10 years ago, unlike the cell phone, is still something that stays with you. It's something that helps you understand who you are. It's something that helps you make decisions. It's something that helps you be the person you are and the person you want to be. So, why are we here? We're here hopefully so that we don't have to say goodbye to your peers, our great graduates, that they'll find a place here in Michigan, that they will attract other like-minded people, that we'll be able to build the infrastructure, which is well on its way. We'll be able to turn some things around. The course of true love never is an easy ride. We've hit a big bump. That doesn't mean we're off the tracks. But it does mean that people need to make sure that we move forward in the right direction. What I do is, in some ways, pretty simple. I get students from all over the U of M campus, bring them together, help them understand how the stories that have come my way from Jim's great students, understand how they work, what they're about. We do a lot of analysis. We look into character. We look into story. We try to understand why those words on the page are so meaningful to us. Okay? And then what happens is we put that in, we make that into an action plan. We figure out who needs to play the role, where it needs to take place, how it needs to appear on the screen, all of those things. So over the course of, Jim and I started teaching at U of M at roughly the same time in the early 90s. We started with small groups of students, and now we have a pretty big-sized department. And what we do is, at the high level, we work together in a course called SAC 423, or Screen Arts and Cultures 423. We select the best and most doable screenplays that come out of the writing program, and then we bring in students who have been trained in the various areas of film production, from producing to directing to camera work to sound to editing. We bring them all together into a course. When we started this course about 8 or 9 years ago, the first year, we had about 12 students in the class. This past year, we had 50. We do 2 small productions. They each run about 20 minutes, and they premiere at the Traverse City Film Festival. I hope you'll all come out. July 28th, Thursday at noon in the Opera House. You'll get to see them. And so what we do over the course of the winter term, from January through April, is we get the screenplay on its feet with this crew that we've assembled, and over the course of February and March, we'll shoot it, and in April, we'll do the initial editing of it, and then we finish it up. The students, most of them come from Screen Arts and Cultures, which is the department that we both teach in. In that department, the majors, it's in LS&A. The majors study film history, film theory, and film production or screenwriting or other areas of production. We bring them together. We also bring in students from all over campus. We bring in students from the business school who are interested in finding out how movies are really made from the ground up. We bring in students from the School of Music, from their composing area to compose the music. We bring in people from music engineering. We bring in students from Theater and Drama Department, School of Music, to play principal roles. We also bring in students from School of Art and Design to work in the art department, and on and on. So we tap the various talents of the whole university to build these productions. And one of the great things that happen is you'll see the various cultures of these different great schools and colleges come together. Business students who have never been on a film set get to actually see, well, why does it work this way? How does it work? It's about more than numbers. It's about how certain resources come together with certain story ideas, how this all is a culture. In many ways, what we're doing is we're creating that talent infrastructure in the university. We're bringing people from all over campus together, the best and the brightest, those with ideas, those who want to collaborate. And we're creating a real-world experience. And I know many of you had great experiences at U of M, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And some of those were completely student experiences, but other of those were really about understanding the larger world and participating in it, moving beyond being a student to wearing that other hat of being a responsible adult, working on a big project with a big team. And that's a lot of what this is about. So we bring all these students together, and they build this production, and then they go out into the world. And my hope is that they will continue to be able to stay here and to continue this work in the ways Jim has talked about, to be able to move on and make Michigan everything it can be. And again, much of that is up to you to help us make that happen. There's another great development with this, which is that Emery King, who's the chair of the Michigan Film Office Advisory Council, came up with an idea a year and a half ago that the 3 great research universities in Michigan, University of Michigan, Wayne State, and Michigan State, could come together and do something as a team, move beyond their usual boundaries, and provide an even greater experience for students from all 3 schools. And what that gave birth to is something called the Creative Film Alliance. The Creative Film Alliance is just that. It is an alliance of these 3 great universities We bring students and faculty from all three universities together to teach